Before we start, I just want to say I've been listening, and I think you guys need to be really careful with all this talk of corruption. This is dangerous, all right?
It's dangerous. It's like Crystal Ball said. These guys are on stage and they're talking about corruption. Be careful.
Be careful with that, guys.
All right. Do you have any funny Chris Matthews stories that are like publicly consumable?
I'm allowed to tell.
All right.
Let me just say this.
French fries on the studio set.
Chris Matthews off camera is exactly like Chris Matthews on camera. We'll just say there's no like having a conversation. There's, him monologuing at you. You're like a prop for his monologue. It's exactly like the experience of watching a show.
That's awesome. So
yeah.
You kind of look Armenian. Bobby Kennedy went to Armenia.
Yes.
The Armenians love the Ed Sullivan Show.
You've like captured his essence. That really nails it. Yes.
All right, we got to do this again.
Oh boy.
Because no one's doing this better than you right now. And I really like Pete Buttigieg, absolutely least favorite candidate. I would vote for Joe Biden over Pete Buttigieg. Ooh. If it was Trump and Buttigieg, I might take advantage of living in New York. No, I wouldn't vote for Trump, but you know what I'm saying. I'd vote for
Michael Brooks.
I'd vote for myself.
Yeah. You'd vote for whoever Susan Sarandon told you to vote for.
Susan Sarandon. Yeah, exactly. I'd vote for RT New Deal. Why is Pete Buttigieg the absolute worst, or am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Here's what I would say. It is so dispiriting to see the same terrible, empty, bankrupt, soulless platitudes captured in a young man. It's so dispiriting. It's like, what if we took all the worst ideas of Joe Biden and like the vague aspirational bullshit of like a poster hanging in your dentist's office and wrapped it up in this like young guy who's going to talk about generational change. And here's the thing that I love is like, there's this sort of notion that he's appealing to young people by being a young person and talking about generational change, but he's not. It reminds me of all the time in working in media, you'll have these executives that are like, we're going to appeal to the millennials. So we're going to talk about millennials a lot. And we're going to hire like a millennial correspondent, which of course is like never works. But he's like that in a candidate. Empty, vacuous, vague, careerist, ambition, technocrat, etc.
So what the fuck? Why is he doing it's so dispiriting how well he's doing. I'll do the obvious caveat. Of course it's amazing that the first openly gay man could do this well in a primary. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Besides that, this is depressing. Like what?
Who are these people?
What's happening?
Well, I mean, one thing you have to keep in mind, and this was an insight that Sanders' senior advisor actually shared with us, he's not spending anyone 10-1 in Iowa right now.
Right.
So, he's gone all in on Iowa. And we have to be honest with ourselves. There's a large constituency within the Democratic Party for like vague aspirational bullshit that doesn't threaten their economic condition, right? So you look at his base of support, who is it? It's affluent, white liberals who like the idea of change as long as it's not gonna like go too far, right? Yeah. It's not gonna raise their taxes, it's not gonna affect their economic interests, and that's his base. Look, the further up you go on the income scale, the more Pete Buttigieg support you're gonna find. The further up you go on the education scale, the more Pete Buttigieg supporters you're gonna find. So that's really, unfortunately, especially since the 90s, the way that there's been an intentional realignment of the Democratic Party around the professional managerial class, that group within the Democratic Party continues to grow larger and larger and become more and more influential. Now, I do want to say, this guy is in certain ways being treated as a front runner, right? In the terrible debate
Strong
that we
fourth.
had. Strong fourth. He's in fourth, but it's a strong fourth.
That was
Strong fourth.
amazing,
Strong fourth.
by the way.
That was the best. That was amazing. Strong fourth. So in some ways, he's being treated as a front runner. You know, the inevitable Jeff Zeleny goes and asks voters if he's the next Obama until they find one that'll be like, yes, absolutely. You know, and he certainly got a lot of time on the terrible debate that happened this week. But if you are at 0% with voters of color in the Democratic Party, you are not going to be the nominee, and you are certainly not a front runner for anything.
Yeah, but people around him have had the brilliant strategy of saying, well, look, if you people would just stop being homophobic,
Right.
I think you'll vote for me.
Yeah, well, and it looks very strongly like his team is the one that leaked the focus group that said, oh, well, black people just don't like us because they're all homophobic, which is really, it's really nasty to just smear an entire group of diverse people as like, oh, well, this is their problem with me. It's just total bullshit, so that's not the thing. There's that too.
Or it could be that can we do this one more time? The only national level experience that this guy has is presiding. It's like, I'm the mayor of Amherst, Massachusetts, and I've got the police department of LA or New York.
Right.
Maybe that's why, is no one knows who the fuck you are, and the first thing they found out about you is that did you break another glass?
No, it's the same one.
Things are getting wild in here.
Oh, man. No one helps you out? Oh, no, not you, sir. Like someone from the staff. Be careful. Be careful.
Has anybody ran for office in this crowd, by the way?
Yeah, is anybody? Okay, right here.
Do you know how many votes you got?
Oh, hell yeah.
But Krystal, did you get more votes than
Oh,
Pete?
yeah. I got I lost. I ran for Congress. I lost badly. 2010, amazing timing running as a Democrat in rural Virginia.
Yeah.
And I still got roughly 9 to 10 times more vote than Mayor Pitt. But you know what? Look, here's the thing.
Pete got 8,000 votes.
Yeah, and here's my thing. Like, the fact
And
that
won.
he isn't doesn't have years as a senator or whatever, like that's actually not my issue with him. I could kind of give a shit about that. My issue with him is the utter destruction and vacuousness of his ideas, the cynicism of it all, to wrap it up in like hope when really all you mean is like, let's do the same old shit that sold out the working class and like rotted the core of the country. I'm with you, Michael. I find him, of all the candidates, do you guys agree with, I find him the most offensive. Yes, okay, good. I'm glad we're all on the same page. Business Insider, did you guys see this? Business Insider actually did this analysis of like which candidates' supporters hated other candidates the most.
That's the best thing they've ever done.
It was
That's
interesting.
fascinating.
So Biden voters really hate Andrew Yang, which I thought was pretty funny. And then
They are racists.
basically everybody's supporters.
I probably agree with Biden.
Yeah. There was a lot of, I didn't appreciate this. There was a lot of Marianne contempt in there, which I don't support that.
All
Okay,
love to Marianne.
wrong. But
Fuck
the
out of here.
Sanders supporters.
Math bad, love good.
Sanders.
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah,
all of the
absolutely.
haters in a crystal
Yeah,
ball
math
of
sucks.
love.
Energy we like.
But Sanders supporters apparently fucking hate Pete Buttigieg. So that was like, yeah.
It's the best people.
These are great people.
That's my kind of people. I was like,
These are
I knew I liked
tremendous
y'all.
people.
Gets it.
You just watched a Michael Brooks Show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.